Please don't leave, guys. I'm pretty cool too. Guys, don't all leave because Buddha's gone. Please, guys, come on. I'm kind of fun. I do things. Hang out. Come on. Buddha just banned me. Well, good luck. Looks like Sab's gonna have a lot more work to do. If you see what do you want me to do right now? What exactly do you want? If you don't want me to play WoW. Or do you League? You want me to let me see what's going on? Hold on. Turn off the stream. I mean, I could play League of Legends. I could. Is Meech back? I could beat Meech in 2K. Battle bit. What's Battle bit? Isn't that like the shooting game that's like Minecraft? Isn't that the Minecraft shooting game? Ugh. Ugh. Right. Train. Infantry training. Right. What do you guys want? What do you guys want? Do you want me to play some WoW? It's a little too late to get on a server or anything. I could just stick around on WoW and we could talk about No Pixel. You know, I am a head honcho there. Let me see. I can go over the you want me to go over the Reddit thread? You want me to react? T-Rex and I will play you. Is there anything to react on? So I could put on my YouTube? Meech isn't around. He's sleeping. Meech is sleeping. Right, let's upgrade the wall. I heard you're Mr. 10%. Is that true? No. I have no skin in the game, guys. I'm just a lowly RPer that is lucky enough to be in a fun position. NBA Reddit? Well, it looks like there's a Reddit thread about the undersheriff thing. Let's see. Should we read it? It wasn't spicy enough. I am kind of disappointed about how non-spicy it is. You know? I was a little disappointed in that. But it is semi-spicy, okay? Get in the server and you'll get some spice. Really? At 1 in the morning? Why would people get pressed? Oh, that's very cute. That's very cute. Okay. Let's build a tavern. This is Rise of Kingdoms, guys. And I am dicking around on WoW. Let's see. I get the load. Fuck. There we go. Right. Confirm. Open another? I don't have any keys right now. I got a free chest. What's this? Shift 3. I mean, I got 75 hours. How about this idea? If this timer gets back down to 40 hours, um is the game frozen? The game's frozen. What the fuck? If the timer gets back down to what's going on here? Can I game capture it? What? Why can't I capture this damn game? Nope. You missed 2K. I smoked Buddha twice. He wasn't even streaming, man. Why can't I? Why can't I capture this? Are you fucking kidding me? Uh, all right. Well, we'll have to do more tomorrow. We'll have to do more tomorrow because for some reason it's just a frozen screen right now. I can't figure it out. Is there anybody else around? It's just me. Let's see. Let's read this thread. Go through this thread here. Can I do this without leaking stuff? Uh, I can do this. Let's try to do some React. Trying to branch out here. All right. Am I getting trolled? Is my computer just busted right now? Trying to open a browser. I'm pissed, man. I'm pissed. All right. Let's just do it this way. There we go. Okay. See, why is this window capturing? Does it look okay? Or is it all Can you read it? Okay. For me, it looks wrong. It looks bad, but okay. Let's see here. Mantis to Owen. Knows people would be disappointed. Owen was the last of the OGs to get a shot at it. He didn't want someone who was rooted in either of the departments and isn't afraid to be a bulldog when needed. I guess that's kind of right. Uh, on the race, on the undersheriff race, there was two main people in the running. Stubble declined. He is saying that this was really a choice, his choice to make. True. First part is not true. It's kind of true, but not really. They had a conversation a long time ago. Loves leading PBSO. Candace, Muller, and Bloom have a lot of potential. True. Some of the big names they weren't receptive. I don't know what that means. Not true. That makes no sense. Didn't want to throw Candace in the deep end. She has a lot of potential, but needs to cook. True. Yeah, she just needs more time. She's still very new to role play and the server, but she's great. Mentions Aspen also did a great and feels Cannoli and Willie are good where they are. That's a oversimplification. Tracy was great. She took it and ran with it. She communicated a lot, which was good. We talked a lot. She was very much asking for things and asking for advice and what to do and if we should do this, and it was great. Did a great job, and that's why she's kind of really good for that's why she's really good for like P&T roles and stuff. And we got to pick our poison. I think, you know, we can't just, if we put all the people like that in higher positions, then we're fucked. Then we got nobody for anywhere else. Also, she kind of has to split her time a bit because she has another really prominent character. And Candace, well, we'll talk about it after. Noli and Willie are good where they are. Well, kinda. I think what happened is I don't think Cannoli wanted it. It was clear by the way he treated it. If he did want it, I think he was definitely someone who was on the radar. I think he's kind of cooled down a bit since the restructure, and I think he's kind of enjoyed doing what he's doing, having the freedom and stuff like that. I think once you get put into a position like command or high command, there's a certain amount of pressure for you to do things, right? And you maybe just want to do something else or something, right? Yeah, you give up a little bit of something else to do it, and not really. I mean, if you don't want to, don't do it. But the undersheriff, the interim undersheriff thing, it wasn't a meme. I think I took it very seriously, and the people who I chose, and gave a chance. And Candace kind of, Candace wasn't gonna be the first one. I don't even think I was gonna choose her originally, but I just had this like gut feeling the morning that I was gonna announce who the first undersheriff was. I was like, you know what? I think Candace Wolfabell deserves a chance because she's been so good and enthusiastic. So I just kind of went with it. I went with my gut. And it turned out she was fantastic. She was active. She was very proactive. She really enjoyed and took the opportunity and ran with it. She was engaged with it, and which was great. And that's why I really liked that's why I really liked her, and that's why I said, you know what? I mean, she's never been command. She's never had a higher position, I don't think. I think she had corporal, but corporal, when she got corporal, it was already a watered down position. And she definitely deserved a shot, and I think she needs to maybe go through command a bit, kind of get beat down a little bit, I guess is the best way to say it, before she might be ready. Because getting thrown at a deep end it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, granted, she'd have me, but I think she's I think she's fantastic, and I'm glad to have her as a sergeant, and she would have been in the running potentially if Stubble became the undersheriff. She was one of the choices for moving into the lieutenant role. So she's kind of been, and she's kind of, I hate to use the word OG, but technically she's like an OG of the new PBSO. I mean, she took the leap, and just like the people with the SDSO back in the day, it pays off big time when you get to where you are, and things start to come together. So I think there's a chance she goes further. I mean, who knows? I think just needs a little more time to cook before she gets to it, but she might one day. With Willie, I don't know how many people have. I mean, Willie can be pretty blunt, but he's also hilarious. He's a good role player. He'll tell you like it is. He's pretty neutral and objective. I mean, granted, he might get a reputation of being one of the Silas goons, but I think he's very much not super engaged in that. And yeah, I don't think anybody has anything bad to say about him. And if you had to choose between obviously Silas and Willie, I have to think, okay, who is a better, if I'm thinking about this, what would be a better universal pick? Silas would cause conflict, which is great, but he can also do that in his sergeant role. Silas, the character, is very stuck in his ways. He's stubborn. You know, he has an MO, you know, where he is where he is, and that's what he likes. So I thought Willie would be a better universal pick if I had to choose. And I think it is, but it's kind of up to Willie and Stupley whether they want to fulfill the role or not. But he definitely deserves a shot at it, because I think everybody kind of respects him, and he's got a good head on his shoulders, so he deserves it. In regards to Willie becoming potentially an undersheriff, I think there was a bunch of people who were suggesting it. However, with Willie, he does have a very much of an SDSO kind of stigma and ideology. I not to say that he wouldn't be able to be an undersheriff for both, or a high command member for both, but the politics of it and the optics of it wouldn't be great. And I didn't want to pick someone who was just so ingrained in the SDSO to be my undersheriff. I don't think that's fair, and to the PBSO. So It was one, and he just got lieutenant. I think if I had to choose, I would put Willie as lieutenant. Regardless, I think that's where he fits. Willie did great with the PBS. Yeah, I think he's great. I don't know if he wants to have the time commitments for it. I think he could, but also I just think the optics of it wouldn't have been great. So that wouldn't help either. And I think he could help out the SDSO a lot more because we needed somebody like him. Because think of it this way: the other person who would potentially be a really good LT for SDSO would be Owen, right? But he's not going to come back to the SDSO for a lieutenant position. So I think Willie would be the best choice. So there's that. PBSO doesn't really need high command. They operate okay. I think people get stuck on this idea, and I think it's also my fault. I'll take a lot of blame for this, and I think I've told Stubble this or Miles this. I think you know, it's kind of me to blame, for them maybe feeling like, you know, they need a high command member because maybe I'm obviously not considered a high command member of theirs, you know. But in reality, I am their high command member. But so is the undersheriff. And also Stubble and Miles has been so good in his position that honestly, he's like I haven't needed to do anything. I've been able to kind of let them do their thing because he's just so good, and to almost a damaging effect because I haven't been around to show face and stuff. So I think that's been a bit of a damaging effect that Stubble is so good, and he leads that department so well, and I think people need to. You know, it's really hard to break out of where we were for so long with the mindset of ranks, like the mindset of lieutenant not being that big of a deal when it really is, or sergeant not being a big a deal, or even senior not being that big of a deal. I think it's going to take a little while for people to get it. A lieutenant's a big deal. Lieutenant is basically captain. You run the departments as much as I want. As I can, and I think Stubble does it to an absolute perfect degree. Jaden promotion ruined everything, true, and I obviously Willie kind of technically has me too, but you know, I'll try to give him his freedom as much as possible. And in regards to Toretti Tuesday, I will comment on that. To be fair, I have not gone to any meetings recently. I've been starting a lot later. I've been starting around 3:30 most days, so I've been missing most meetings. But I'm back, and Tuesday I'll be there, and tomorrow I'll be there. On Thursday I will be at tomorrow I'll be at the PBSO. But most time, I mean, the most meetings I showed up for were Pizza Fridays and sometimes Mondays. But other than that, I mean, in reality, I haven't gotten on the server until an hour and a half. Let's see. Double joins the convo. Doesn't feel like the PBSO needs another voice at the table, but they feel they do. Sounds like the OOC things are being handled pretty fluidly. He feels the PBSO voice has been heard, bringing up lack of Shift 1 high command, but T counters that Stubble is basically the lead in Shift 1 with the loosest leash possible. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. People don't see everything, right? And they can only RP off of they can only RP off of what they know, right? Obviously, that would make no sense. However, if they're kind of feeling down or something in an OOC level, or they're feeling like, you know, they don't want to come on duty, or they feel demoralized or whatever, it's hard because not everything needs to come out in the public, right? Not everything needs to be out for everybody. I think sometimes that causes more problems than it helps. And Miles and I's a relationship is pretty solid. I talk to Miles nearly every day. I would think of him as essentially another one of my, like, I think of my lieutenants as essentially nearly high command members, right? So Miles and I talk every day, and obviously not everybody sees that. I also, I took a bit of a break. I needed a little mental break. I was, there's some personal things, some family things, and it was just weighing me down. It was beating me up a little bit, and plus some of the issues it was just kicking my ass. So I took a little break, but I was always in contact with Miles, and I've always answered him. We've always talked, and we have a great relationship. And we get shit done, and he gets shit done. He's awesome. I think that's why he likes being where he is. And I knew that was going to happen. I 100% predicted that once it started to get going, because I obviously there's some apprehension of whether it's going to work out or not, but I knew that he had the potential to do it, and I think he could have, and he did. He succeeded. The department's fantastic. And it's a absolutely shining it's you know what, it developed a lot quicker than the SDSO did, maybe because we were starting from complete scratch when I had to do that, but they're fantastic, and their seat at the table for high command is me. I would hope they would think that. I know it kind of feels like it's not, but I am technically their high command. I'm not just the SDSO as much as I come from them, and I'm both. And I love the PBSO. I just don't. Stubble is just so good. I don't butt into anything they do. No need. And it's hard for somebody who's new at this, Miles, who is command, but who's in a much higher leadership role, to convey this type of thing, right? How do you convey that, hey, trust me, Toretti is, or me, Mantis is very much involved, and we're constantly talking, and I love the PBSO. Like, they're the smoothest operating department right now, probably because they're still kind of small, which always makes it easier, but they're also a well-oiled machine right now for the most part, and they have really good people, and they have that mixture of semi-new but also like middle of the road veterans who are great. So they also are pretty stacked, which helps, but I get it. I get why they would think that, because on the surface, it doesn't look like they have any voice or anything. But in reality, Double and I are always talking. And, I have a complete open door policy for them. And I think because I hold office hours in Sandy, because it has my name, it has my office, might be a deterrent sometimes for people to come to talk to me from the PBSO, but I would hope they would do it more. But I had another little mini solution that might help, and it might help, but it also might piss people off, obviously, but in character, it'll be fantastic. But I put like my nameplate in the office up in PBSO, and I go up there for a bit. It's just so far away that when I want to get out there or something's happening, you can't go to it. That's the only downside. But yeah, that's a possible thing we could do. Uh, so there's that. Um, calm down the dooming. Some people like to doom because they can because they're bored or they need conflict. They need something to interest them. Sometimes you just don't have anything interesting like going on, and you sit there and you think and you talk, and things start dooming, and they're not really as bad, but you start working yourselves up, and then it becomes a bigger problem than it actually is. But well, I'll be up there tomorrow, but there'll probably be people will be upset, and I knew it was going to happen. We've been through this for a while. Um, oh yeah, I'm responding. I'm trying to get some YouTube views, baby. Content. So most of this is fairly true. Uh, in regards to the people involved, there were a few other names that always came up at the start. Um, another name is you got the ROK ad block with your browser. What? I don't. Um, the couple of names that came up were Fingaldan was one of my big choices. Uh, that was a big thing. Um, he turned it down. Marco Holiday valiantly turned it down. Uh, but in reality, there were a few names. There was Candace. Was that was a bit was on the kind of the considerations. There was obviously Stubble, who we had extensive talks on the undersheriff thing, and I could tell his heart. Oh, the ROK scene. I don't have the ROK scene. It's broken. My Rise of Kingdoms is broken. I gotta figure it out tomorrow. Anyway, you guys got me distracted. Uh, you can kind of see it behind the browser. What? Oh, this. There you go. Okay, there you go. But let's see. Uh, Candace was a consideration, but she's too new. I think she got a really good position. She got sergeant, which is which I think people don't get how big of a deal it is. There is not many positions and not many spots for people to get in into with Command Plus, right? It's a big deal. We treat it very seriously. Those people are essentially the old captain role almost. So she got into a position that she absolutely deserved because she did so well as their undersheriff role. But I don't think she's ready yet. Um, she's come a long way from when she first started. Uh, in regards to her role play, not really role play, but she's always been really good. Uh, so there was Candace, there was Stubble, um, there was Cannoli at the beginning, at the very beginning, Cannoli was considered, but I don't think he had any interest in it anymore. So there was Cannoli, Willie, Owen was always a consideration. I mean, I always wanted Owen in a position that, you know, like this. I always think Owen deserved it. He never got it. He's kind of gotten a short end of the stick over and over and over again. Regardless of whether he's my friend or not. I try to stay objective with these things. I really wanted new people. And I know he's not really new, but he's kind of new. Made him undersheriff, true. And let me see, who else was there? Who else did I consider? Tommy Toretti would have been hilarious. I haven't seen my brother in a little bit. Go back to 2K? No one wants to play right now. I was going to play League. And then the other one that I was actually considering, ooh, the event, okay. was Jenny. And I really want to find a good spot. I want to find something for her. Because she deserves it, and I really like her. So, I gotta find. I want to be able to make sure that she gets a place somewhere. So, that'll happen. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Let me see. So yeah. Let me see. What else was? Somebody asked something else. Oh, Bloom was okay. So that is another one. Bloom was actually very much considered. I really like Bloom. I'm a big Bloom fan. He does some stupid shit sometimes. Unfortunately, unfortunately, my my state ID is over 40,000, so it was not going to work out. You know. It would be very hard to hire it would be really hard to hire new people because all their state IDs would be above 40,000. So I don't think what he would do. Justin Barnes doesn't deserve anything for what he's done. And last time he fell asleep, when he fell asleep while we were trying to raid, I died. When he fell asleep when we were trying to raid, and then he complained that we didn't tell him when we need to come back, and he raged and quit. That was the end. Also, I like dogs, and we can't be corrupt anymore. So, unfortunately, you know, never ever promote Ringo. True. Ringo never is gonna get promoted. He's a psychopath. All he does is wink at me. Every time I tell him not to do something, he winks. I understand what you mean. I understand, yeah. I know what you mean. Wink. So I figure. No torture. I get it. You should be high command because we're OC friends. Yeah, that's what people think. They think so little of me. Think so little of me. That's how I would do it. Which is complete opposite. Just for one day. You already had your chance, okay, man? You left. Yeah, Svensson can't shoot dogs anymore. He's gonna he can't be as goofy as he was before, but I don't think Owen minds that at all. If anybody's gonna make it to high command, it's gonna be Tommy Toretti, by the way. I don't know why you think I would ever make Ringo over Tommy Toretti. Fast boys are trying to destroy Kyle OC. It always comes back to Kyle, huh?
Flame are coming. Quick! Let's clear out the Jarrahdin ruins to the west and help Thalen Darkanvil with his investigation.
Take over the pizzeria. I can't wait for Keon to become a trooper, though. Let me see. I was really disappointed. I was just, I'm going to be honest. I was disappointed. I didn't have enough criticism. If anybody other than Stubble takes over, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. Granted, we live in very different times than before, where there might be less wild cards. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's great, fantastic. He's a pain in the ass when he's on the Littlemans. Absolute menace. However, did I finish? Did I get this? Did I protect the researchers under fire? Okay. Did I not just do that? But honestly, Miles is like one of the best we've had. Sorry. One of the best we've had since I mean, I know this is gonna be a real bad take. People are not gonna like hearing this because he's a very evil man, but one of the best we've had since kind of Bass, where he's kind of an all-arounder. I mean, obviously Sab's specialty isn't the political managing type roles, but when it's about on the field, when it's like being out there on the server, there's not many people better than Bass and Stubble by far. I mean, they're, you know, you could see because the shifts kind of crumble when they're not around, and then that's when you hear the thing about that's when you always hear the excuse. It's like, well, we need Owen is up there too. When he wants to, Owen will do that. I think he's old, and maybe he gets rejuvenated in doing that, but I don't know how much he's gonna want to do that. It's a young man's game. So you know, that's a thing, but I think, and then we always fall into Matt Rhodes is another one. Yeah, Rhodes is, you know, Rhodes is great. But it always, there's always, this is the problem though, right? They're so good. They're very good at what they do, right? And when they're not around, it's very obvious that they're not around. It's very clear. And then the argument becomes, this is the argument, this is where the argument comes from. The argument becomes, we need high command around. Or we need more command around. And in reality, what they really mean is we need Sab around. We need Stubble around. We need Owen around. We need people like that around. And it's basically a way, it's basically a way for people to kind of pass the blame and not step up or weaponize their ability to get promoted. I mean, Bass was doing the same shit he's doing now out on the field when he was a regular deputy. Because it doesn't matter what rank, if you're good at this stuff, it doesn't matter what rank you are. And I think another person like that, and I think he's kind of he's very much like, I don't know how to describe it, but he's not really good at anything else. You know, nothing. He's not good at anything. He's not very smart. He can't do much. However, I think Bones can be a very good scene leader, and when he's missing, it's obvious. So, it's very obvious. So what really needs to happen, and people don't want to hear this, but other people need to step up. You know, they need to be like them, take their lead, right? And if they don't, we're going to be in this situation where people are going to get gaslit. Into thinking we need more ranks when we don't. We just need people to actually do their shit and not rely. I mean, it's kind of how it is with everything, right? If I take the gas pedal off a little bit on things in the PBSO or just like the quote unquote the micromanaging I do, right? If I take the gas off a little bit, I take my foot off the gas a little bit. Ow, what the fuck is going on? Who is this guy? People struggle a little bit and then they don't know what to do because a lot of people will have a hard time dealing with it when they don't have me to give them the backup that they needed, right? Or be able to be there for you to kind of bounce ideas off of, or just to be there to assure you that things are okay. I don't know what emote that is. Good kill on that elite. Thank you. I'm doing the research facilities while I talk. So. Big T's not around. Big T's a micromanager. How can he be both at the same time? He can be. What are you guys talking about? Are you saying because I don't have this? Is it because I'm not like this? I deliberately did that. You guys want to watch me do this? I'm not doing anything. Wouldn't you guys rather look at Reddit than this? This is not intense roleplay. I'm doing, or gameplay. I'm literally doing the boring shit. Anyway, let's see. Anything else? Engaged Sirius Svensson is one of the best and most immersive cops in the PD. I'd assume now that he has a purpose again, we'll get more of that and less of the giga griefing that we've seen as of late. I think an underrated part of him as undersheriff is that he has always been very aware of Teredi's faults as a leader, and now he has the power to fill in those gaps in a way that Teredi never was able to. Yeah. He doesn't know. It would take 70. What are you babbling about, man? Need to put. Hello. Hunter Main with the 10 gifted subs. You lagged my game. But yeah. I think Owen's great. I think he's gonna do well. We'll probably butt heads. He'll probably get pissed off at me a lot of times, but I think it'll work out pretty well. And he could be the guy that I kind of need in other shifts. So we're good. We're good with that. I'm actually losing frames. Why am I lagging? I'm actually dropping frames. What a cute cat. Thank you. I actually am being I told you guys, I'm not kidding. I'm lagging. I'm dropping frames like crazy. Well, I'm not dropping frames, but my FPS is trash right now. Oh, I think I fixed it. Nope. I'm still dropping frames. Don't know why. Probably because I do have a lot of frames up. This. Try deleting Mustampa. You're a jerk, old animated. Okay. Oh, we're good now. Now we're good. I don't know what it was. Actually, I think it might have been the bugged out game. It might have been because my frames got bugged out. My scenes, my window capture got fucked. Anyway. Let's go through this a lot quicker now. Owen only took the job because Bones followed him to Troopers. That is one of the reasons. That is one of the major reasons. He did not want to be in Bones' department. Also, it'd be hilarious that he left to join him and then Owen left again. Absolutely smoked Casey. Smoked and rolled. Smoked his pack. Absolutely destroyed. Oh, here we go. Blonde boys on top, baby. People that thought it would be anyone other than the member of the inner circle were on some extreme copium. Look, two things about that comment that I need to bring up. There's two parts to this. First part is the fucking blonde boys was literally had to do with Divine dating Forcer. And then it was a pact by a bunch of people to stick together. Like me, who had no position. I don't remember what our ranks were at the time, and we tried to get Bob in on it because none of us had any rank, and we were trying to stick together to make sure, you know, Divine was a sergeant, Molten was a senior. Wait, was it really? Were you a sergeant before Matt's lieutenant? Yeah. We also, the other part of it was, we also really liked, I mean, John and Owen were the absolute masters of it. But we also really liked to kind of grief Alex and Bob. So we kind of tried to force him into the blonde boys, and eventually we got him just by pissing him off and keep bringing it up. So that was what the original blonde boys were. Now I know there's like the new blonde boys, I guess, and they will all tell you that inner circle will tell you, that unfortunately, well, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna leak it right here. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not allowed in the circle. I'm on the outside of that circle. I'm not in it. They won't let me in. I don't play enough League, and my CS:GO rank is not high enough. So the idea that it was a blonde boy and it wouldn't be anybody else was very wrong. I actually wanted someone different for positions. So there you go. I'm not one of them. I'm not allowed. I'm not in the Illuminati, guys. So joke's on you. Maybe Owen was just a really good choice. I was cool with any pick that wasn't Jenny Harsh. Owen is a really good pick. Yeah. He can go toe to toe with Toretti when Big T is a bozo. And he can squash people in the SDSO being stupid fricks. The fact that people want to leave or stop waking up, like the talk that Stubble is having, is absolutely wild. I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know any of that at meta, and I don't really care. But that's always been kind of my thing. I pissed off a lot of people at the start from things I did, but I also did them deliberately as kind of a little test to piss people off. And I wasn't going to allow certain things to be weaponized against me, which I know a lot of people are very, very good at. And they almost do. A lot of people do it subconsciously. They kind of do that thing subconsciously because they know most of the time you get your way, right? If you threaten certain things like morale or or not being on duty anymore, um or they want to leave or something like that. If you keep allowing that to happen, then people are just going to do it subconsciously. They're just going to keep doing it. It's like a kid, right? If you allow the kid to get stuff when they do things, or even like a pet, honestly, if you allow certain people to get stuff when they do certain things, they're not going to stop doing it until they're not rewarded for it. But I also think people are overreacting. They'll think it over. That is a shallow take if you haven't even heard their issues. No, it's not a shallow take. People weaponizing things without trying to fix them is absolutely not that is disingenuous, and that is absolutely weaponizing. So it's not a shallow take. It would be a shallow take if they didn't. I don't know anything about them. I don't know why you guys are mentioning Pond. I don't know if that's serious, if she has anything to do with it or not. Regardless, it's probably a bunch of it's probably role play with her. I know Lady Hope, and she's always been role play first. So it's probably role play. So there's no reason to get on her for it. But oh, well, wrong. It's wrong. It's not a shallow take. You can't complain about things but not approach anybody about it, right? It's hard. There was an epidemic in the PD, and I think it had a lot to do with the amount of people who were in command and in leadership positions. And the epidemic was something would happen that people didn't like, and instead of approaching the person or figuring out a solution or doing it yourself as a leader, instead they would go and complain about it to the other people in command or leaders, to just I don't know, bring it up. I don't know. Instead of actually fixing the problem, just to talk about it instead of actually fixing it. And I'm very much not like that. Every workplace. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, I know this isn't a real job. We all know this isn't a real job, but it's not like it doesn't mimic the real world. I mean, it legitimately mimics the real world. So, sounds like good internal role play sometimes, but also sometimes it can be very toxic and it could be counterproductive to the people's role play and progress on the server when you, instead of confronting them and helping them, especially new people who fuck up, you prefer to complain about it behind in somewhere else or to other people. And one person who definitely doesn't do that is Owen. So that's one of the big perks of him. And if people have problems where they're upset about things, and then they need to kind of bring them up and talk, right? So it's not a shallow take. If you're weaponizing it because you don't want a solution, you just want it the way that you want it, and you throw a temper tantrum, then go ahead. I'm not gonna. It was just like at the beginning. Just like at the beginning of this restructure, I wasn't gonna back down. I was gonna press buttons. I was gonna be kind of rough, kind of mean. I was gonna do things that people weren't gonna like. And I just kind of wanted to see how people react. I remember Owen getting so much complaints from new hires. You've never been mean once. Oh, I was pretty. I did some things at the beginning of this restructure that people were pretty upset about. When I rehired all of SDSO, I know that pissed a lot of people off. When I refused to do a few things and then I just basically told people they could leave or whatever, people did not like that either. You rehired Keon? That was done behind my back. I don't remember ever doing that. Maybe I was being, I don't know. I don't remember that part. That was the kind of point of the restructure. Yeah, it was, but the problem with the SDSO, and maybe we should have, and look, looking back on it, I think it could have been done in a little different of a way, but it should have been done regardless, because I didn't think it was very fair for the SDSO to have to go through another hiring process, which we already got to do. I was lucky enough, and I was to be able to do exactly what the restructure was doing. And there was no reason for the SDSO to go through that again because they've already done it. But there was a lot of people that probably should have been kind of weeded out a little bit. Maybe the inactives or stuff like that could have been moved over to somewhere else or just not hired, stuff like that. It could have been done a little slower. But I had a lot of people complaining at the time, it's ironic that people then complained the opposite way, even in the SDSO, about rehiring everybody. But you know, that was my whole thing about it, and I don't think I'm wrong. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing. And you know, whatever. A lot of people didn't believe things were going to be different or change, so to say. Sure. I mean, there's always going to be a feeling of doom and gloom. 50% of this guy's department has 0 hours last month. Maybe. But I bet that 50% when they come back, everybody is going to be very excited to see. Not the same you could say about a lot of other people. I think someone asked about the UPD and the VPD thing. Look, unless something crazy happens, that is not an option. Not going to happen. The whole point of the restructure was because we couldn't stretch us that thin. We can't add more departments. Not going to happen. It makes 0 sense. All you do, if you do it, all you do is add more people to command and high command, and it makes no sense. And we only have a finite amount of people. Not only that, but when you kind of gutted a lot of the department, for better or for worse, you have even less people to be stretched out, right? So if you add another department, more people have to be stretched out. You'll then have to find a lieutenant. You'll have to find some sergeants. You'll have to find some seniors. You're going to have to find a department for them to do like the P&T and all that baloney, right? So it doesn't work. You can't stretch. There's only a finite amount. It just won't work. You'll have to. It practically makes no sense. If you want something to run smoothly, it won't. It can't happen. Also, The VPD makes no sense considering the LSPD is the city. Makes no sense. The LSPD is the VPD. So if you want to be the VPD, you go to the LSPD. Also, that's not how you spell baloney. I have 2 BCSO departments, to be fair. Well, yeah, what I'm saying is we can't stretch it anymore. We can... The only reason we still have 2 is that this SDSO kind of really had a distinct personality. I didn't think it was fair to make the new people coming in be forced into the SDSO kind of personality and culture, because it's a kind of a unique culture. And at this point, we've gone so far that's hard to go back on unless you do something shitty. And obviously there's been, I've had thoughts and I've considered combining the 2 departments again. But I didn't think that was conducive or a positive at all, because I think the SDSO has kind of carved out their niche and their kind of personality and the way that they act and react to things and what they do. And I don't think it's fair to force anybody else to be a part of that. Where you become past the point of no return. So yeah. I think the PBSO has really carved out their kind of their personality, their unique culture. And I think they're doing great. And it'd be really shitty, as much as it would be more uniform, to combine them again. But it's not worth it. They're doing great. Yeah. I was given a unique opportunity. We ran with it because we had to, and it worked out. But one of the problems with the LSPD split was that we already split the department into an extra department on top of the troopers and on top of the rangers. And then you're going to split them up again, which means practically you need high command in both. You need sergeants in both. You need lieutenants. You'll need corporals. You'll need seniors. You'll need P&T departments. And everything just becomes so convoluted. And then you're running out of people who can do it. You don't have enough qualified and talented people who are there yet and ready. And you're just stretched too thin. And it's just, it's hard. We're finite. Maybe if the departments get ginormous, then maybe we could split it again. But I don't see that coming to be a thing in a long time. The best embellishments for let me see, for Boomkin there's 2 different ways to go about it. There's the toxic whatevers, and then there's this one, which a lot of people do. They do the slimy expulsion boots, and then they craft another item. Mine, for instance, is on my wrists, and they get the toxic armor patch. Libby did the right choice by merging Alice. Well, Libby's great. I love her. If I could, she would be my undersheriff. By far. I think she's my favorite to work with. I think I've always had a great we've had a great relationship working together, and it's really fun. We don't get to see each other enough, but she's great. Fantastic. The departments were merged together before she was even brought on board. Because don't forget, there was a whole different situation happening up until 4 hours before the announcement, right? Like Maddie did not know she was going to be chief until 4 hours before it happened. Everything was set up in a completely different way with completely different people, with a whole kind of plan and organization going. And then things kind of get spun on its head at the last minute, which was wild and crazy, but it kind of worked out, right? And you know, and here we are. But the departments were always going to be merged. One of the things with the restructure was things weren't really, the DPD was decent. I think they were doing a pretty, they were trying to get going. I think the problem with them trying to get going was legitimately because another department existed. And they were just stretched so thin, and somebody was going to suffer, and it wasn't really worth it. Why not make something better with a lot more people? Also, I think what Brian was trying to do was create an LSPD kind of feel for his department, right? And merging them back together would just be trying to keep that kind of feel and idea. But I think he kind of tried to bring something different and unique. I don't think the formula would ever have been to copy what the SDSO did, because I think the SDSO was kind of a how do I say this? A diamond in the rough, I guess, or like a needle in a haystack kind of thing, where I think it just, everything came together to work out. And it's really, you can't replicate something like that. And also, it won't be as great if you replicate it. The argument with people complaining about this not being the same SDSO, which might be true, is that you can't try to replicate the past, because it'll always be the past. It'll never live up to the original. You'll never, the memories you made and the fun that you had, you'll never be able to replicate it exactly the same way, because times change, things change, people change. And it's more, it's better to create new memories than try to harp on the old ones. Celebrate the old memories. Be happy with that you have them, but don't try to force it. Move on, move forward rather than try to move backwards. More better, right? And I think that's where the SDSO is at. And I think it's a little difficult for people and it's an adjustment, because obviously, I mean, same thing with me. I mean, those times in the original SDSO way back in the day, it was special, man. It was a lot of fun. And I mean, but we won't get those back. We can just reminisce about them, right? And we'll never be able to. It's just, it happened so organically, and it was just special. So the PBSO, I think, are doing something similar. I think they're gonna get there. When is the PBSO replacing the PCs from the early 90s? I'm not really asking for too much useless dev work. Even though it would be fun. There's more important things to get done. If you can get a few things done, we'll try, but no. PBSO getting their projector. I don't know what's going on with that. As you and Columbo said a few days ago, it was the bits that made SDSO. Now there isn't any bit that the department has. I don't think so. Honestly, the bits were fun, but I think what made the SDSO special was the people in it and the way that people RP'd with each other. The people who were kind of there at the start, the way that we bounced stuff off each other so well. I think that's what made the SDSO special, is the people in it, not me. Uh, or I mean, Silas was a big part of it, but not just Silas. I think it was everybody, and everybody buying into it, everybody having a good time, everybody having a positive attitude. That's the only way it works. I haven't seen Toretti for a Toretti Tuesday. I mean, to be fair, I don't think I've been on. I'll be completely honest. I don't think I've been on the server restart in that same amount of time. So it's not like I'm skipping out on it. It's just I haven't been able to get there on the server in time. That's all.
My wares were made with knowledge.
I think I said the controversial take a while back where I think a lot of the problems with PD aren't necessarily problems that can be solved through the PD. I think a lot of people are miserable and they're projecting their misery
Thank you for sharing.
on other people and on the PD because, you know, sometimes the calls that they go to suck. The way people act suck. The frequency of some of the things that they have to do sucks. I don't know if it's necessarily on the cops to really fix a lot of it. I think there's an issue with the people that they have to deal with all day. Not to be a cop sympathizer, right? But I think there is a lot of issues with what goes on in the server. Not that the server's bad. It's not like the role play or the server's bad. I think some of these PvP events can get a little sweaty and unenjoyable for a lot of people. Because let's not forget, and I think Owen said this best. He said it to a bunch of us. When you go up against a crim group, you could go against their second or third string. However, those successful crim groups are there because they're good at those mechanics, right? Like usually they're successful because they're either good drivers, they're good tacticians, they're good shooters or whatever, right? But when it comes to cops, when we hire, believe it or not, we're hiring people because of their role play, and we're not even a lot. I mean, most of the people we hire, we have take zero consideration in how good of a shooter they are or how good of a driver they are. And so when 4 to 6 people wipe out 20 cops, it's probably because there's only one Bones, one Bones can't shoot or drive, but one Bass, one Stubble, one Annie, and they're up against 100 people. I mean, they're up against 5 or 6 very organized, usually, people against 20 unorganized, inexperienced role players. right? Like me. I'm not a great tactician. I think I could I can kind of lead a scene if I need to. I don't really enjoy it, but I know I can. Uh but no, it's not what I leave it to the people who are really and really enjoy it, right? So, thank you, Hunter man. So I think that's a big issue. Remove the ping concept from the server, make it like Ignite, make policing proactive. No. 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 Eh. Well, nothing will change. No. Stuff can change. But the way that I play cop is no better than the way other people play cop. I mean, there's different it's just like on the server, there's different people enjoy different things. People enjoy different types of role play. And just because it's not my cup of tea doesn't make it less um important, I guess, right? Just because I don't like going to booths doesn't mean that the people who go to booths can go fuck themselves or that it's not as good. I mean, sure, there could be a little less role play in it, but also this is a video game, and you're playing with other people. Driving cars in the game can be fun, and we shouldn't have to take that away from people, as long as they can role play in the cells if they get caught, and you know, and stuff like that. So proactive policing, sure, is good, but there's a lot of calls that go unnoticed. Uh, so yeah, I think that's a bad idea. Don't need to remove pings. Realism RP. I think I don't know. I think Sab said it best. It's not about being realistic. It's more about being immersive. That's more important. This is Grand Theft Auto. People get shot 6 times a day or tortured, come out of the hospital within a half hour and go out there and do it again. It's immersion is big. And usually what helps immersion, and I don't think everybody agrees with this, but at least for me, something that really helps immersion is consequences. We can go back and yap about this all you want, but if you're poor on the server, right? Like when Pepe had no money, when I played Pepe with like, I think it was with Sam Simmons I met one day or something, like before I even knew Casey. No, it wasn't Sam Simmons. I think it was like Oxlong. It was Liam Law or something. No. It was Bogo. It was what's his name's character? Alexander whatever. It was him and Mobo. That's what I'm thinking. It was Mobo and Dogbert and somebody else. And I remember us getting to a chase and I had no money. And I didn't want to go into negative because I'd be fucked. I didn't know mechanics on the server. I didn't know how to grind. I didn't want to grind because I didn't want to waste my time doing that. And we got into like a chase and I think we shot, it wasn't Saul. I think it was Gable. I think we shot Gable. But like that was like super intense for me just in the role play sense, because I was poor and I didn't want to go to jail. I was scared to death to go to jail because I had nothing. There was consequences on the line. And once there's consequences on the line, I think you organically it becomes better rather than a PvP match or an instance. So if you attach consequences to something, or you at least manufacture the consequences, immersion could be a lot more impactful. But if you're gonna get into a boost, and if you get caught, you're gonna go to jail for 20 months, meaning you can like take a breather and AFK for 5 minutes, and then get out, then who cares? But if you're worried about a fine of like 30,000 because you don't have any money, and you're gonna go to jail for like an hour, I feel like that's a little more impactful. I'm gonna shoot you when I do a B boost. Look, guys, you know what? Don't meet your heroes.